Hello everyone and welcome to the Bug Access community. Today we are going to talk about an amazing type of attack which is HTTP smuggling. This attack has a vector of P1 to P3 vulnerability on Bug taxonomy. So let's get started. So we are going to talk about what is HTTP request smuggling, concept, type and practical example. So here you can see there is a normal flow of website in which there are two users, one domain load balancer and one backend server. Now domain load balancer is on front end server which does the load balancer job. So name as the name suggests that whatever packets are coming, the load balancer will transmit it one by one to backend server. So this is a normal flow website where two packets are sent. It is been load balanced by load balancer in the front end server and then it is sent to the backend server. Now here is where vulnerability pitches in. So there is an attacker who sends the malicious data at the end of the request and send to the load balancer, and load balancer send it to backend server. Now the next request by the user is being appended to the malicious request of the attacker, which means the next user will be a victim of HTTP request smuggling attack. And many things can be done with HTTP smuggling attack, which I'll be covering in the later session. So here it is what chunk transfer encoding is. You have been seeing this or you have seen this many times when you do bug bounty hunting, but you might not be sure that what is chunk transfer encoding. So when the transfer encoding is of chunk type, the data is sent to the server in a chunks. Like here we have chunks of 3 is the length of my message, here 2 is the length of my message, /r/n means that thing is being ended and the new thing is being started. So it is like a terminating clause of a chunk, not the terminating chunk which is being mentioned here. So here 3/r/n means the next data is of 3 length and 2 means next data is of 2 length, so bulk and excess. Now 0/r/n means that there is no more data and it can be now be transferred to the backend server. So that is a terminating chunk. Now how does developer sees this? There are two types, using content length and using transfer encoding. So if you are using content length, then we have the content length which says the length of the message. Here we have 5, so hello, it is a 5-letter word. Using transfer encoding chunk, we have seen in the earlier slide that it is 3/r/n is by default 10. You might not write that. You may or may not write that. So 3, then bug, then 2, then excess, and 0 is terminating chunk, Now there are two type of desynchronization here. Now what is this vulnerability? This vulnerability pitches in when there is desynchronization between how the content and between the front end server and the back end server, which means the vulnerability lies in the front end server and back end server. So here it is what vulnerability really works. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so there are two types of desynchronization: content length transfer encoding, or known as CLTE, or transfer encoding content length, which is TECL. Now what is CLTE? Now this is an actual request which is 0 hello. Front end sees it as 0 hello, and what backend sees is 0 hello get. Now you already know that transfer encoding chunk and the first message is 0, which means this is an terminating chunk and there are no more requests to be sent. But we have sent hello here, which means the hello will be appended to the next request. So you can see in the backend server, hello is being appended to the next get request. So hello get is not a proper delivery message or so hello get is not a proper type of message sending technique. There are only two types, get or post. So hello get is an improper type and thus the next user will get an error of a web page. Now here what is TECL? Now CLTE means that content length is being checked on a front-end server and transfer encoding is being checked on the back-end server. While TECL means that transfer encoding check is on front-end server and content length is checked on a back-end server. So here we have the actual request of 3, then ABC and 0. Then we have here 3, ABC and 0. So actual requests and front-end requests are quite normal here. 3 is the length of the message and 0 is a terminating chunk. But when it goes to the backend server, you know that 0 will be appended to get because we have not put an enter here, or it will not get to the next line. So 0 will be appended to the get request and 0 get is not a valid method. So the next user will get an error in the web page. Now how will exploit this? Okay, I have attached the practical session in the later part. Now we can do an open redirect, access control restricted bypass, reflected access and capturing other user requests. We can do this with Burp Suite, and capturing other user requests means you can have every cookie data that a user is having in the request. So this can be done for session hijacking. You can use all the cookies data, and reflected access does the same thing. Open redirection means if you have your own phishing page, then you can redirect user to your phishing page and he or she enters the username and password, which in turns give you the username and password of the victim. Thank you so much. So in the practical session we'll be covering a Portswiggle lab and we'll be covering both the types CLTE and TECL. Now you already know that what are CLTE and CETL. Let's get started. So here labs are not solved, you can see, and we'll try to solve it. Go to access lab. Now for this you need a Burp Suite to make an HTTP smuggling request attack. Okay, copy this, go to Burp Suite and we'll add this to the scope so we can just see the So the Burp Suite is an amazing option where user can identify or attacker can identify if the domain is having HTTP smuggling request vulnerability or not. So when you go to extender and the B App Store, you can see here there is a tool known as HTTP request smuggler which you need to install. Now it is not possible for human being to try every request that is possible and check for HTTP smuggle. So an automatic process will help you a lot. So we'll just right click here and we'll say launch smuggle probe and enter. Now there are no different tab for HTTP smuggling requests and you'll find the issue right here in the issues box. Now this will take time and we will do for this as well. So the first one was for this one CLTE and the next one is for TECL. This is for refresh this page. Yes, we have here, and we'll do launch smuggle for this as well. Enter. So this will take some time and I'll tell you after we have some juicy stuff here. Welcome back again. So here we have CLTE vulnerability and we'll try to exploit it and solve our lab. So first we'll see that what we actually need to do. So to solve this lab, smuggle a request to backend server so that request processed by the backend server appears to use gpost method. What it means here, that we need to append G in the end so the backend server sees the G post method. So here it will be post and here we'll write G. Here it will be G. It will be G. So this is how we can solve our lab and we'll do it in practical as well. So go here. We have this response request. Okay. We have transfer encoding chunk, content length 5. Yeah. We'll now please uncheck the update content length option so it will not automatically update the content length and prevent this attack. So this is an CLTE type, so we'll do smuggle, right click on the request here and we'll do smuggle attack CLTE. Okay, now this is the request and here we have this will be the prefix the victim request edited to achieve the desired effect. So here what we need here G post, which is an unrealistic method, and just to attack. Okay, engine is logging out, so we'll wait here for some time. Okay, we'll try again. G post. Refresh this. See, our lab is solved because one of the requests, you can see the next request here we have has status 0 and we have successfully appended G post to the next method. So yes, so we have solved our lab for CLTE vulnerability. Interestingly, what we can do is we can send this to repeater. G post. Okay, no issues. See, now we have 1403 which says that forbidden unrecognized method gpost. So you can try 2 or 3 times for this attack and you will definitely get 403 or whatever the desired effect you want. So there we solve CETL lab and now we'll go for TECL. Yes, we have got TCL data as well. So CETL is solved. We'll close this and we have this request of TECL. CLT is done. What we need here? Okay, we need the same thing. So what we'll do, we'll go to any one of this, go to request, launch TECL attack, and we already know what we have to do. Attack. Yes, we have already solved this. You can see when there is a 403 method, which means the user got an unrecognized gpost method, right? You can see on the first request we appended the gpost method, and the next user request got appended with gpost, and he got a 403 error. So now when we'll refresh this, you see our lab is solved. So this is how HTTP request smuggling works, and you should definitely report this if you get this vulnerability. This is a completely automated process, so it is very easy to find. See you guys in the next lecture. Bye. Have a great day.